All right, I'm here with my buddy Athena, and this is Athena's Roadmap to Success. I want to start this one off by talking a little bit about entry procedures, and then we'll talk a little bit about body language, and we'll summarize this sucker. So basically, Athena's guardian was concerned that she's aggressive, and although she is aggressive with other dogs, I'm not really seeing a lot of aggressive behavior. What I'm seeing is a dog that's kind of a little bit spoiled and petulant, and I think the guardian has misconstrued some of those behaviors as being aggressive, which a lot of people do. But I think in her case, she just is barking and growling because she wants more treats or attention or whatever it is. So what I did is what I call greeting protocol 1. It's my own designation for it, where I leave a treat trail. Now, it's important when the dog comes out, the dog does not see anybody leaving the treat trail and can't see the person when they come out of the house. And so you have a treat trail that goes from your door down the driveway and then around a corner. I was hiding around my car, and the person should be sitting down, and the dog should be approaching from the side. So if this is a clock, this is 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I want the dog approaching like at a 4 or 5 o'clock angle here, or a 7 or 8 o'clock. From behind is defenseless. Sometimes dogs will bite you, but front facing is confrontational. And your guest, you need to explain to all of your guests that come over, she's a rescue dog, and she is unnerved when people front face or walk directly at her. I'm telling them right now, walk directly at her. And a lot of times we lean over the dog and see how she dipped her head up there. So front facing is confrontation. That's what I was going to get one of these for this, so that you don't walk during this video. So basically, tell your friends, and what I would do is I'd go through your phone and try to get, the guardians here are not from Omaha, so try to find some friends or neighbors, people you can have help. Sit, yes. And practice having some guests come over, doing that exercise and engaging with her. So the guest should not try to go to her. If the guest wants to, and I would tell the guests, you know what, we're not going to pet her, we're going to ask for signs of engagement first. So we always hold our hand out in front of her, and if she turns her head to the side, lowers her head, backs away, you do not try to pet her or say anything to her. You just pull your arm back and we just have a conversation. And we want to play a little hard to get. That will make her a little bit more interesting, but also make her feel more comfortable because we're not going towards her. So what I would have you do is do the treat trail, and the person's sitting on the ground when they approach. They're getting, and have a little pile of treats here, like 3 or 4. She gets those, and let her sniff and be passive. And then when she's got her sniffing out, then hold a treat out to your side with a palm up like this motion, and don't say anything. Just let her lick it off your hand. And when she licks it off the hand, keep your hand there like this. Often they'll come and lick a second time. That's a second interaction with you in a positive way. And when you move, try to move kind of like you're underwater. Have fluid movements up. Quick, sudden movement is the sort of thing that can set a dog off. So then after we do this a couple times, then I might, and if she's stiff or uncomfortable, there's nothing wrong with throwing a treat behind her. That gets her to move away, and that increases the distance. The whole point of this is she feels relaxed and comfortable. Then what I would do is I'm sitting on my butt. When I rock up, I throw a treat away, and when she goes and gets it, I get up into a crouching position. So my butt is on the ground, but my feet are underneath me. And then she comes over, and I give her another treat. I'm testing, is this posture something you're comfortable with? She won't take the treat. She's saying I'm not comfortable. She won't come to me. She's saying she's not comfortable. If she does and takes the treat, I might ask for a sit. And you can ask for a sit in the previous stages as well. If she sits, only say it once though. If she doesn't sit, don't say it again. If she does sit, say the marker word and give her that treat. So I do that a couple times, then I rock up and throw the treat away, and I rock myself up into a crouch position, offer a couple by hand, then ask for a sit. Every time she sits, yes, and then I give her the treat. When I'm ready to stand, I throw another treat about 10 feet away. While she's getting it, I stand up completely. Standing up when a dog's right here can set them off if they're nervous. So when she comes back to me, I offer a treat here, do that twice, then ask for a sit. She sits, yes. Then we go for a little bit of mini walk. Walk just 4 or 5 houses, letting her sniff as much as you want. So we're associating, that person is now associated with the walk, which she likes doing. There's a lot of distractions, there's a lot of escape routes, so she doesn't feel comfortable, confined, or confronted. The person is not engaging with her, she's engaging with them. So she's taking all that pressure off. And then after the mini walk, you have them come in the house. Now when you come in the house, that person needs to have treats and give her a treat the instant she walks in the door. So we go from outside to inside. That transition we want to prevent her from barking. Now, barking itself is not something I'm that particularly concerned about, but I don't want her to practice that behavior. So if she comes in and that person has a treat and they're just like, here, Athena, give her another one, another 2, ask her for a sit. That gives you the ability for them to come in through that threshold and change the environment. And then if you're going to take your shoes off or your jacket or things like that, I would have somebody maybe do that cookie in the corner, show her they have 5 treats and say, treasure, and throw it, and then they're saying yes, yes, and you throw it far enough down the hallway, they can take their jacket off, their shoes off. Just taking things off can also set a dog off. Then when you have, come in the room and you'll have probably another chair or something over here. Have them sit here and have them, again, not try to engage with her. Don't look at her, don't try to talk to her, don't try to entice her. Let her come on her own. If she does, you should probably have one of these treat pouches and give it to your guest full of treats. So anytime she comes over, yes, and they give her a treat. She sits, yes, and give her a treat. So we're gonna do that celebrating thing. And so the guest's not telling her what to do, but every time she does something like sit, eye contact, laying down, coming to them, yes, and she gets a treat. This guest is a pretty awesome person, man. When they come over, I get all this good stuff. And I'm practicing listening to the guest and being reinforced for listening to the guest. And we did it in a nice way where we set the dog up for success. I forgot to mention that. She's gotten exercise before, so take her out for that walk or the game of fetch, give her that 10, 20-minute rest before the guest comes over. And then basically what I would have the guardians do next is have the guardians play a little of that hand targeting the boop, boop. And you're doing it for maybe just one of you, then the two of you are doing it. And so one of you sitting there, one of you sitting there. She's going back and forth, back and forth. And then eventually your guest goes boop, runs over here, touches the nose, the guest puts the treat there, and then you do it. So she's engaging with the guest. If the guest goes boop and she doesn't come over, she's not ready for it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay for her to not be comfortable with somebody. Some people might have to come over a couple times. Some people are an acquired taste, like me. You might have to come to your house 10 times before you're like, okay, this guy's all right. So same thing for her. There's some people that just don't trip our triggers in a good, positive way. That's just normal. So basically what we want her to do is we want her to get comfortable and relaxed with that guest as she's engaging with them, and the guest is looking for that signs of consent. Also giving, and after about 2 to 5 minutes of this, then she should get a lick mat with peanut butter or a Kong. I believe that she would like you to write down, order a lick mat. I like the ones from Best Buddy. Make sure it has suction cups on the back. And then you could also give her like a bully stick or a cow kneecap or a trachea or a cow cheek. Don't give rawhides, those things are nasty. Cow's ears. So giving her something, dogs when they chew and lick, they release endorphins, and that's great. And I would just ignore it. Just lean back on the couch. Cross your arms across your chest. So the dog Athena just climbed up on her. The guardian went like this and disengaged and became boring. Athena went down and she's looking, she's eating some stuffing. Her mom would prefer she doesn't do that. But we're letting her know that jumping up on me doesn't get attention. Right now it gets a lot of no or stop, or it gets a lot of, any attention is validated to a dog. Okay, for dog body language. So I look at dogs are they leaning? Are their feet underneath them or are they off to the side behind them? That's an indication they're either dominant or fearful or trying to move away. Then I look at their body. Is it wiggly and jiggly, which they normally should be, or is it stiff? I look at their breathing. Is it fast, or is it holding the breath, or is it casual? Then I look at the tail. Is the tail going up? Is it in the middle, or is it down, or is it down tucked? So the tail is really an indication more of energy than it is personality or mood, except for how fast it's moving and the position it's moving. I know, you're very vocal. And let me see, what else? Then I also look at the dog's mouth. So this, we can see Quest's mouth is open on my mask. If the dog goes from an open mouth to a closed mouth and gets stiff and stares, that's like a big warning. We don't interpret that way, so we just like doop-de-doo, and I'm gonna go and try to pet you, and then the dog bites us. Well, I just told you 3 times I don't agree with what you're doing. So the idea is to observe the dog in its neutral body mechanics. So seeing how your dog looks, the mouth, the head positions, the nose up, also the ears are also something to look at. So once I know what my dog's ears, the nose, the mouth, the tail, the breathing, the stance, the stiffness or looseness of the body is when the dog's relaxed, then I start looking for differences of that when the dog's excited, when it's scared, when it's territorial, and so on. So, and just do one at a time. So, okay, we're just working on excitement. So when she's excited, her tail wags on the left side low, and her ears go out to the side, and her pupils are not dilated. Yes. And I think that's residual. She's so used to doing this. That's not necessarily a great habit for her. So the idea is once we can start to read our dog's body language, and then if you tell she gets stiff when a guest comes over, we give her a hand target, she runs away. We've taken care of the situation without her having to. Okay, I'm going to go over just really the topics of what we covered. I have videos that go in depth for any of these things that you forget or you're rusty. Text me. Or, hey, David, I forgot about petting with a purpose. Can you send me a video? I'll send it over to you. So the first thing we talked about was marker words. Make sure you're using marker word yes when she does the action. Unless the action has duration, then we say yes at the end of it. Yes comes at the moment the dog does it at the end of it, and then it's followed by a treat within 2 seconds maximum. Let me see, eventually we transition to using a cue or a command word, and when you say that, when we're 90% certain the dog's going to do it. So we keep on practicing just using the marker word until when I can motion the dog into a sit every single time, then I say sit, motion the dog, and then yes, and give the treat. So there will be a time where you say the marker word and the cue at the same, not the same time, but the same interaction. And after a while, then you just say sit, the dog sits. You don't have to say yes anymore because she knows what it is. The marker word has served its purpose. Yes, that's passive training. We're not there yet. Celebrating, that's like I call it. All right, so that's marker words. We also, and cues. We also went over a hand targeting exercise. I have a video for that. Practice that one again throughout your house. And again, try to do it with her standing because she likes to shake. Because don't practice shake anymore, by the way, as well. And if she, as soon as she starts sit down, just take 2 steps away just to get her up, and then try to throw that hand down quick before she gets a chance to sit down itself. After a while, she'll just touch her nose to your hand only. Try to keep that hand frozen and put the treat there. And practice that one a lot, because what I talked about at the top of this video will help if you have a good hand targeting. Right there, she doesn't have it, and she's distracted, and it's too far. So start at first, remember the transition is turn, lean, step, then multiple steps. So here, and keep it at dog's nose level, and gradually get further and further away. We also went over using the positive director. You can also say beep, 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 or puppy, 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 and to get the dog's attention. So if she's starting to chew something I don't like, I say beep, 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 or she looks at me, I go like this. This is the part where you run over here. That's why I practice for a lot. And eventually she runs over here, then we give her the treat for doing this, and then we give her something else to do. If you don't give her something else to do, she's gonna go right back, yes, to the thing she was doing. We also went over petting with a purpose and passive training. Petting with a purpose is if you would like to pet your dog or your dog is nudging you. And remember, this is the part where we're teaching the dog manners. We're give the dog a do-over just like we do for kids. Daddy, I want some pizza! Would you like to ask for that again in a polite way? Daddy, can I please have some pizza? And Daddy gives the pizza. So that reinforces it, yes. So when she comes up and nudges you, she's saying, darn it, give me some pizza. We say, would you like to do it? Sit? Yes. Then we pet her under her chin, on her chest, or on her shoulders, and pet her as much or as little as we want. If she doesn't sit, no. If you don't sit, then you don't get the attention. This is petulant. This is, I want your attention. I don't want you talking to the camera. I want the treats in your pouch. I want. She's not used and practiced to doing this. I'm not going to give her any attention. I did before. I shouldn't have. I was trying to do it to be funny for the camera. But any attention is validated. So I'm just going to, you bark at me, I'm just going to ignore it. If she does a lot, you can use a negative punishment. I try not to do that because it does create a little frustration. But if she demand barks at me, I might get up and leave the room. That's a negative punishment. I'm deducting me from the equation. She wants my attention? Well, barking at me causes me to leave. But again, that should be the last thing that you do. Yes, well, okay. I told them that you should get kneecaps earlier. All right. So let me see. So that's petting with a purpose. Remember to use, we're teaching manners. So say manners are polite. So if somebody comes in and sees that I'm petting her, they say polite, I would stop petting her. Say sit, yes. Actually, I was asked her to sit. When you opened the door, she stood up and I continued petting her, but thanks, I do forget to pet with a purpose. And so that's if you want to pet her or she wants to pet you, and eventually she's going to start sitting to prepay for the attention. When she does, make sure you reward that. That's really what we call celebrating. Celebrating is rewarding the dog when it voluntarily does the action we want. Yes, that would be a way of celebrating a bark. If I was trying to teach her a bark, I wait for her to do it on her own. I immediately say the marker word. Yes, yes is your marker word. And then I pet her and give her that reinforcement, a treat, or pat her attention, or tug or throw the ball, or whatever it is. So after a while, she's more motivated to do those things because that's what gets the attention. Celebrating is where the dog voluntarily offers the behavior. Yes, that is definitely petulant. But that's celebrating where the dog voluntarily sits, lays down, looks at you, comes to you, drinks water, poops outside, poops in the area outside you want, brings you the ball, whatever it is. So the more that we pet them for the things that we want, the more they will offer those behaviors. Right? Most of us train our dogs to do the thing we don't want because that immediately gets our attention. Remember, all attention is validated. All right, we also talked about exercise, sniff walks, tug of war. One I forgot to go over. You can get her a doggy backpack. Check with your vet to make sure it's okay. It's a harness that has pockets. You can put little bottles of water. That makes the walk more efficient because she's carrying weight. Playing with other dogs is a great one, but she can't because you got some dog aggression issues. Let me see. Fetch is another great one. And during fetch, use those premix. So sit. Yes. Well, I should have said yes when she sat. Then say fetch as you throw it. And then when she brings it back to you, have a treat ready. Let's see if she'll do it again. Yes. Let me try to do that one more time so we do it right. Sit. Yes. Fetch. And I have the treat ready to go. I'm not telling her what to do. If she doesn't bring it back, I'm not going to give her the treat. Yes. Now she brings it back and she's dropping it. Her mom's about to cry off camera. Okay, so fetch is a great way to burn energy as well. That's physical exercise, but there's also mental stimulation. Feed her out of a snuffle mat, get a couple of treat dispensing toys, write down snuffle mat on the deal. Also make sure she has Kongs, fill those suckers up with peanut butter. Eventually you can start freezing them. Lick mats, we talked about earlier. Cookie in the corner, which is the one where we threw the treats, and eventually you just hide the treats when she's outside and just point and say, get the treat, or treasure. She goes and search. Remember, sniffing burns a lot of energy. You can also Google scent games, S-C-E-N-T. There's a lot of games out there that they'll do it, and that drains a lot of energy. If it talks about bringing a cadaver in, you don't have to bring a dead animal in to do it. There's other types of scent games you can do. But that's a Border Collie, which is part Border Collie, is something that they do a lot of scent game or mental stimulation with, because Border Collies are usually really intelligent dogs. And so they get bored easily and they can get them into trouble. So providing them with proper things to do can really help.
Yes.
Let me see, what else? I think that's it for mental stimulation, training, sniff games, sniff walks, or scent games, sniff walks. Lick mats and the snuffle mat. Make sure you get that snuffle mat. But for feeding, right now she's free fed. So put the food down, eat a little something yourself first so she thinks it's mealtime, invite her over. And then when she gets done, if she walks away from the bowl, then maybe go outside, open the door, let her go outside. And when she's not in the room, yes, then we're going to go ahead and pick up the bowl, dump it empty, put the empty bowl back down. And when next time she comes in, she sees the bowl's empty. So eventually, there's only a couple minutes a day when there's food. And we're going to give her however long she needs to eat. Some dogs have a slower digestive tract, or they get acid reflux. They need to eat a certain. I don't care how long it takes them to eat, but once they walk away, then we're going to remove the food and put the empty bowl down on the floor. That's probably going to take you about a week or so. When you get to the point where you put the food down, she's going to eat. You can use that cue. So every time she's about to eat, what is the cue you want her to use? The word to eat?
Pineapple.
Pineapple, and then she eats her food. And so that becomes a reinforcement. And so then you can tell her to sit and wait, put food in the bowl and walk away eventually once you teach her to do this. And then from the other room, you yell pineapple, that she runs and eats the food when nobody's there. That's practicing self-restraint and self-control. Let me see, what else did we go over? We also went over the importance of rules and structure. So some of the rules I go over: not being allowed in the kitchen when we're preparing food, not being allowed within 7 feet of a human who is eating. And I'm laughing because the guardian is taking notes behind the camera, not realizing that this video is for you to not have to take notes. So you can watch this video. But taking notes, whatever you want to do is fine. So not allowed to be within humans who are eating. We don't feed her people food because that reinforces that. Sit. And using Premax. That's a Premac. I told her to sit. She did it. So now she gets what she wants. Do what a less desirable action, sitting, for her, gets her a more desirable action of fetching. So that you can incorporate Premax into that. Sit at the door, sit before I put my the leash on you, sit before I prepare your food. Yes. Oh, yes. You want to play tug of war? Tug, 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 tug. And you might come up with a word for this. Say, what did they used to call it? Back in the 70s, they had a thing where all these stars would come and do this tug of war and stuff. I can't remember what it was. But come up with your own name. Just game on! And then when the energy gets to 50%, drop. Yes, for the drop. Sit. I wait for her energy to come back down to level 2 or 3. When it is, fetch. Curious how that's going to look on camera. Big shark coming towards you. But incorporating that incorporates a little bit of practice at self-control. It's a great way to burn energy. Yes, it's a great way to her practice listening to you and be rewarded for listening to you. It's a really beneficial thing. Premax are great. A less desirable behavior earns me more desirable behavior. The exercise going above is the focus exercise. Work on that a lot. If she's continuing having these problems, I'd like you guys to work on this stuff for about 3 weeks or so. And then at that point, maybe set up a follow-up session if we need to specifically work on click for looks, where we'll have another dog come in that's under our control so we can practice a more refined version of the technique that you were trying to do earlier. I just want you guys to really focus on this stuff. Now, a couple other housekeeping things. I would love to send Jacob out, which is one of our level 1 trainers, and have him work on the relaxation protocol, teaching her to sit on a dog bed while various things go on around her. That takes, like I said, 3 sessions. And we can get probably Christina to come out if you guys book that, before Christina does one, she can come on. And Christina is somebody that can look at some other behaviors for him as well. But I'm happy to come back. Any of us, or anybody on the DGP team is going to be great. Let me see, what else? And then, yeah, if you want to have Laura come by and work with your cats, that's kind of completely different. Now, if you have any questions on the stuff we went over, things stop working. The barking is probably going to get worse before it gets better because she's essentially throwing temper tantrums. She's going to continue throwing temper tantrums because they've worked, and she's going to be frustrated about it. But eventually, she's going to start sitting to prepay for the attention. When she does, make sure you reward that. Let me see. If you have any other questions, please feel free. Don't hesitate. I don't care if it's 2 minutes after I walk out your door or 2 years from now. Make sure you let me know. I can only help you if you let me know you need some help. Athena, would you like a treat? This is a good one. Come here.
I think even her temper tantrums are cute.
Well, this is my buddy Athena, and this is Athena's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.